Welcome. Welcome to the United States of America. It is such an honor for us to receive you here today. This is the land of the free, and we know that all of you have faced... I'm Chris Landau. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm the Deputy Secretary of State of the United States. This is my friend Troy Edgar.
Yeah, I'm the Deputy Secretary of Homeland Security. Again, welcome. So great to have you guys here.
I know you've gone through a long flight. I cannot believe there are babies and children who are actually so well behaved. This is much better than mine are. So bless you for that. And you know, I think it's so happy. It makes me so happy to see you with our flag in your hands, and that flag symbolizes liberty for so many of us. Many of us, our families have had a journey not that different from the journey that you are embarking on today. My own father was born in Europe and had to leave his country when Hitler came in the 1930s and made his way to South America first and then eventually to the United States. So he is an immigrant who actually, you know, was able to benefit from the many blessings of this country. And one of the reasons that I really wanted to go and work for the government is because I wanted to give back to this country that really brought freedom to my family and allowed us to escape a very difficult situation in another country. So, you know, I know that this is going to be, you know, any adjustment in life, any change takes a while to get used to. But I want you all to know that you are really welcome here and that we respect what you have had to deal with these last few years. We respect the long tradition of your people and what you have accomplished over the years. And I am sure that you will be successful. As you know, a lot of you, I think, are farmers, right? When you have quality seeds, you can put them in foreign soil and they will blossom, they will bloom. And we are excited to welcome you here to our country where we think you will bloom, and we will hopefully allow you to have fulfilling lives for your children, and then we will bloom and we will benefit alongside you. So thank you very much for coming here.
Yeah.
Halito Chimachukma, this is Chief Steve coming at y'all with another episode of True Story. We got a really interesting one for you guys today, but before we get started, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new. Don't forget to hit that notification bell as well, so whenever I drop these bombs, you'll be the first ones to grab them. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Halito, y'all, Chief Steve here, and it's good to be back. It's been a minute. As you know, I was getting some device upgrades, and now we're getting forward into the true story once again. So thank you all for sticking it out while I made some slight changes, and I hope you guys enjoy the channel going forward. So today we're unpacking something that's not just odd, it's dangerous if we're not paying attention. Donald Trump has just signed an executive order allowing Afrikaners from South Africa to enter the United States as refugees. Yeah, the very same group historically responsible for the creation and enforcement of apartheid, now being treated like the oppressed. Let that marinate while we take it all the way back and connect the dots. So you may be wondering, who are the Afrikaners and the Boers? Afrikaners are descendants of Dutch, German, and French settlers who colonized South Africa in the 1600s. They created a new language, Afrikaans, and forged a deeply racist political identity that placed them above the indigenous black population in South Africa. Now the Boers, that's the farming, gun-toting, ox-wagon, version of Afrikaners. Frontier settlers who believe more land, more God, less so-called black people was a reasonable foreign policy. Now, Afrikaners didn't just enforce white supremacy in South Africa, they institutionalized it. Apartheid was their baby. They wrote the laws, built the jails, and funded the terror. So-called black South Africans couldn't own land in white areas. They had to carry passbooks to travel and were forced into fake homelands with no citizenship. This wasn't ancient history, though. This was legalized until 1994. And best believe it left really deep scars. Now let's fast forward to 2018. Donald Trump tweets that he's asking Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to investigate the, quote, large-scale unaliving or killing of white farmers in South Africa and, quote, land being taken from them. This was a direct signal to white nationalist networks that the U.S. government was ready to consider Afrikaners as victims, not colonizers. And now in 2025, Trump has made it official with an executive order granting Afrikaners refugee status in the United States. That means that they are now legally protected immigrants in the United States, many settling in places like Alabama, Idaho, Texas, California, and New York. And here's the problem, family. They're not coming here empty-handed. They're coming with generational mindsets of entitlement, racism, and land control. Mindsets that built into the law of another nation. They built this into a law of another nation over 40 years ago.
I want to ask you about South African refugees. Dozens of Afrikaners who claim discrimination in their home country are heading to the United States, where your administration is going to welcome them as refugees. Now, this comes as you halted virtually all refugee admissions for people fleeing famine and war from countries like Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Why are you creating an expedited path into the country for Afrikaners but not others?
Because they're being killed, and we don't want to see people be killed. Now, South Africa leadership is coming to see me, I understand, sometime next week. And, we're supposed to have I guess a G20 meeting there or something, but we're having a G20 meeting. I don't know how we can go unless that situation's taken care of, but it's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about, but it's a terrible thing that's taking place, and farmers are being killed. They happen to be white, but whether they're white or black makes no difference to me, but white farmers are being brutally killed, and their land is being confiscated in South Africa. And the newspapers and the media, television media, doesn't even talk about it. If it were the other way around, they'd talk about it. That would be the only story they'd talk about. And I don't care who they are. I don't care about their race, their color. I don't care about their height, their weight. I don't care about anything. I just know that what's happening is terrible. I have people that live in South Africa. They say it's a terrible situation taking place. So we've essentially extended citizenship to those people to escape from that violence and come here.
So listen, before I go to sleep, I need to tell you guys this, okay? So I chatted with someone from South Africa who is Afrikaner today, and who is going to be applying to come to the United States. And she was trying to explain her plight because she was seeing that a lot of people do not want Afrikaners over here as refugees, okay? Now, Mama strictly say that. They don't want Afrikaners. We don't want Afrikaners over here as refugees with a refugee status. Okay? So she continues to explain herself, and she does not mention anything about genocide. She doesn't mention anything about someone taking her land from her. She doesn't mention any of that, as to the reason why she plans on coming to America with her children. This is the reason that she gave, which is not a qualification for a refugee status, okay? She said that she couldn't find a job. Not only did she say she couldn't find a job, but she said she couldn't find a job because of her race. She believed she couldn't find a job because of her race. And she also believed that her children did not have a future in South Africa. That doesn't qualify to be a refugee. That honestly does not qualify. Do you know how many people in the United States of America can't find work? Do you know how many people just lost their jobs in the United States of America because of this administration? I mean, do they have refugee status? Can they fly anywhere and be like, oh, okay, well then, give me food, clothing, shelter, and everything, and your government needs to pay for it because we're refugees because we can't find a job here in the United States of America. Now, I'm not gonna lie. She was like, I don't have anything against my people in South Africa, nor do I, and I'm not racist. I'm just Afrikaner, and I just want to find a job. But I said, but you're not a refugee. Not because not because you can't find a job. Simply because you can't find a job, you think you're a refugee? If that's the case, you know what I'm saying? That doesn't make you a refugee. She said nothing about any of the quote unquote genocide, any of the oh my gosh, all she said was she couldn't find a job. That's it. And the White House is allowing this.
Themselves to the 50 Afrikaners who fled to the US, calling themselves refugees. You are not refugees. You are just a case study of white flight dressed up as martyrdom. You're not escaping violence, you're escaping equality. South Africa didn't chase you away. You ran. Yes, South Africa is one of the most violent countries in the world. Yes, brutality exists. But let's be honest, violence affects all communities, not just white farmers. Black, colored, Indian, and yes, white people are all targets of a national crime crisis. What we have is a breakdown in safety, not a white genocide. This is not ethnic cleansing, it's criminal collapse, and running to the US won't fix it. You are part of a 7% minority, but somehow still manages to control over 70% of the wealth. That is not persecution, that's privilege on a guilt trip. And let's be real, if we tried to relocate just half of the Afrikaans population, it would take decades, billions in logistics, and you'd still end up culturally homeless in a country that don't want your apartheid baggage. You're not brave, you're not victims. You're scared of a world where you don't get to be in charge, and that makes the rest of the Afrikaans community cringe, because you make us look weak. South Africa is broken, and it's our problem to solve. So if you don't have the spine to do so, stay gone.
You are right. There's not one farmer amongst the people so far that have been fact-checked, specifically the people that are speaking to the media. I'm not sure why, when they got there, they decided it's a good idea to speak to the media. I don't know if the media on that end, I'm talking about the US, actually pays these refugees to speak to them. But so far, there is a car salesman. There is a woman that said she owns a farm in South Africa, a guest farm, but there are questions around that ownership. There is the man that said he owns mines, but it is starting to look like he was a manager on a granite mine, not an owner. Then you have, he's also the one that was related to the anti-Semitic posts. Then you have the IT firm owner, family business, couldn't make ends meet on this end, not rocket science, not, Musk level. And you also have a couple that say they leased a farm, but people are looking into that because the statements they made were really strange also to the media. I mean, one of the statements the woman made, her name is Debbie van der Westhuizen. She said that when she goes to grocery stores, black people push her out of lines and push her out of the dressing rooms. And her husband, Nico van der Westhuizen, states that black people just come onto their land and live there, but they didn't have land. They were leasing a farm. And it is just very strange. Oh, and he quotes a farm attack that happened in 1993, before the ANC took over. So, no, there are no farmers there.
Those people who are being enticed to go to the United States do not fit the definition of a refugee. A refugee is someone who has to leave their country out of fear of political persecution, religious persecution, or economic persecution. And
that's what the United States says they're undergoing in South Africa. That's why they've opened the door for them.
Yes, and they don't fit that bill. They don't fit that description. And I had a conversation with President Trump on the phone, and he said, what's happening down there? And I said, President, what you've been told by those people who are opposed to transformation back home in South Africa is not true. And I added to him, I said, we were well taught by Nelson Mandela and other iconic leaders like Oliver Tambo on how to continue to build a united nation out of the diverse groupings that we have in South Africa. We're the only country on the continent where the colonizers came to stay, and we have never driven them out of our country. So they are staying, and they're making great progress. It's a fringe grouping that does not have a lot of support, that is anti-transformation and anti-change, that would actually prefer to see South Africa going back to apartheid type of policies. And I said to him, I would never do that. I learned at the feet of Nelson Mandela, and we intend to proceed with the implementation of our constitutional architecture. And I thought in my conversation with him early in the morning at 4 o'clock South African time, he understood that. And I said, I'd like to come and meet him so that we can discuss this matter further. So those people who have fled are not being persecuted. They are not being, hounded. They are not being treated badly, and they are leaving ostensibly because they don't want to embrace the changes that are taking place in our country in accordance with our constitution. So we think that the American government has got the wrong end of the stick here, but we'll continue talking to them.
So a face-to-face meeting is coming up. Is Elon Musk invited when you have that face-to-face meeting?
Well, I don't know. They will determine whether Elon Musk is part of it or not. I will go with my own South African delegation.
Now you see that, y'all? Even the president of South Africa has publicly called out these migrating Afrikaners. Why? Because instead of staying to participate in reconciliation, to repair what their ancestors broke, they're jumping ship, playing victim. Even many Afrikaners who stayed in South Africa think the ones fleeing are spreading lies, ducking accountability, and fueling racial division on a global stage. Now I'm talking to my people directly. And by my people, I mean the copper-colored Aborigines of America. Now, as copper-colored Aborigines of America, the original American Indians, who were once reclassified as Black and African American, but we know those are all misnomers. We know who we are. And knowing who we are in this land, we have got to stay laser focused. because history is playing out right in front of us. They couldn't take the land in South Africa anymore. So now they're bringing their game here to our land. They may try to run the same plays. And by the same plays, I mean take land quietly, control rural zones and police departments, leverage political power, marginalize our people in plain sight. These are all possibilities due to their track record. But let me be clear. We are not South Africans. We are not Africans, period. We have never been to Africa. We have never been Africans. We didn't arrive here. We've always been here. We are the original sovereigns of this land, and we've never bowed down. Not to Europeans, not to colonizers, and definitely not to no foreign fugitives of justice calling themselves refugees. Now, family, I'm gonna say it again. Don't get distracted. We still have work to do. We're building, we're reclaiming who we are and what is ours, and we're organizing. They couldn't erase us physically. They couldn't erase us economically. And now that they see we're rising again, they're trying to distract and displace us. But it ain't gonna work. Because we've got the truth. We know the truth. We got the legacy. And most of all, we've got one another. So let's stay educated, let's stay alert, and let's continue to walk in truth with locked arms, building the most dominant, innovative, and influential empire the world has ever seen, just like we did in the ancient days of old. This has been True Story with Chief Steve. Make sure you guys like this video. Comment, let me know what you guys think. And if you're new, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget the notification bell as well. All right? And share this. Share. Share it with someone who needs this awakening. All right? Because this is time for us to stand on business. We got to stand in truth. And never bow down. Tatakista, I cherish you all. And Yokoki, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
If you're white, you're wrong in South Africa. You're a land thief. You are a racist. The whole time it's being told, and there is racist white people, plenty of them.
You say you're not a racist white person?
No, not at all. I've got many black friends. I think I've got more African black men as friends as white friends. I'm tired of being told, just because I'm white, I'm a thief. Just because I'm white, I'm wrong in this. I had nothing to do with apartheid. Nothing.